सुन्दरभुजस्य पदारविन्दे अम्भोजडम्भपरिरम्भणमभ्यजेष्टाम् तद्वै पराजितमिमे शिरसा बिभर्ति इति सुन्दरबाहुस्तवे कश्चन श्लोकः। सुन्दरबाहोः भगवतः पदारविन्दे इति द्विवचनम् अम्भोजादपि सुंदर अम्भोजादगन्ध प्रवाहैः एवं बहुभिः प्रकारैः अम्भोजं पदाभ्यां पराजितम् अभवत्। यो यः पराजितः सः जेतारं शिरसा वहति इति लोके क्रीडा नियमः दृश्यते। तदनुसृत्य अधुना सुन्दरबाहु पदाभ्यां पराजितम् अम्भोजं स्वजेत्रिणी भगवत्पदे शिरसा वहति। अम्भोजपीठे भगवत्पदस्य स्थितिः एवं हेतुना उत्प्रेक्ष्यते अनेन कविना। अनन्तरम् अस्य कवेः दृष्टान्त प्रदर्शन नैपुण्यं पश्यामः। दुरूहान् अर्थानपि दुरवगमान् अर्थानपि समुचितैः दृष्टान्तैः प्रतिपादयितुं निपुणः अयं कविः। श्रीवैकुण्ठस्तवे अनेक श्लोकेषु विविधाः दृष्टान्ताः प्रदर्श्यन्ते। अत्रत्य श्लोकस्तु श्रीस्तवादुद्धृतः। ये वाचां मनसां च दुर्ग्रहतया ख्याता गुणास्तावकः तानेव प्रतिसाम्बुजिह्वमुदिता हैमामिका भारती। हास्यं तत्तु न मन्महे न हि चकोर्येकाखिलां चन्द्रिकां नालं पातुमिति प्रगृह्य रसनाम् आसीत सत्यां त्रिषी इति। मम भारती श्रीस्तवे प्रवृत्ता भारती वाणी चकोरी तुल्या चकोर पक्षी स्त्री तुल्या। तावकाः गुणाः महालक्ष्म्याः गुणाः चंद्रिका तुल्याः। यथा वा चकोरी चंद्रिकां पिबति तथा मम भारती महालक्ष्मी गुणान् पिबति तत्र रसानुभवं करोति। यथा चकोरी अखिलां चंद्रिकां पातुम् असमर्था सत्यपि पाने प्रवृत्ता तद्वत् मदीया वाणी हे लक्ष्मी तव गुणान् समग्रतो वर्णयितुम् असमर्था एवं सत्यपि त्वद्गुणवर्णने प्रवृत्ता। यथा चकोरी स्वतृष्णा शमनार्थं यावत् शक्ति यावदभिलषितं च चंद्रिकां पिबति तथा मम वाणी तव गुणान् यावत् शक्ति यावदभिलषितं च अनुभवति। तत् अत्र हास्यं किमस्ति इति पृच्छति कुरेशः। वाङ्मनसयोः दुर्ग्रहतया ख्यातान् लक्ष्मी गुणान् कीर्तयितुं यतते अयं मंदः इति केचन परिहसन्ति। लक्ष्मी गुणवर्णन प्रवृत्तिरेव साहसकार्यम् इति ते कथयन्ति। मंदा एव वाङ्मनस वाङ्मनोतीत लक्ष्मी गुण वर्णने प्रवृत्ता भवेयुः अयं पूरनाथः श्रीस्तवे प्रवृत्तः इति अस्य मन्दत्वमेव प्रकटितं भवति इति परिहसन्ति किन्तु न तथा अत्र परिहास्यं किमस्ति न हि समग्रं वर्णनं समुद्दिष्टं स्वतृषा शमनं किल समुद्दिष्टं मम या तृषा वर्तते तत् शाम्यत एव अनेन श्रीस्तव रचनेन इति चकोरी दृष्टान्तः श्रीस्तवे प्रसिद्धः अथ अन्योप्यलङ्कारः परम्परारूपक नाम अनेकेषां रूपकाणां परस्पर सम्बद्धानाम् एकत्र कथनम् वेदार्थरत्न निधिरच्युत दिव्यधाम जीयात् पराङ्कुशपयोधिरसीम भूमा इति श्लोकार्थः श्रीवैकुण्ठस्तवे अस्ति अत्र पराङ्कुश कविः शकोपाभिधः आचार्यः प्रपन्नजन संतान कूटस्थः स्तूयते रूपक द्वारा तद्वर्णनं क्रियते पराङ्कुश एव पयोनिधिः तत्र वेदार्था एव रत्नानि यथा वा रत्नानि जलधौ बहूनि सन्ति एवं पराङ्कुशे पराङ्कुश प्रबन्धे च वेदार्थाः अनेके सन्ति प्रणयसार एव रसौघः तत्र प्रणयसार रसौघपूर्णः इति पूर्वार्धे इति अस्मिन् श्लोके रूपकत्रयमस्ति पराङ्कुश पयोधिरिति वेदार्थ रत्न इति प्रणयसार रसौघ इति च परस्परं सम्बद्धं रूपकत्रयम् इदं पराङ्कुश पयोधि उभावपि पराङ्कुशश्च पयोधिश्च अच्युत दिव्यधाम अच्युतस्य दिव्यधामनी भवतः पराङ्कुशः श्रीमन्नारायणस्य दिव्यं धाम भवति कथं पराङ्कुशस्य हृदये विशिष्य अच्युतः सन्निधिं कृतवान् यन्नेञ्जुनिरय पुहुन्दान् इति तस्य गाथा पयोधि जलधि समुद्रेपि अच्युतः प्रविष्टः तत्र सन्निहितः अच्युतस्य दिव्यधामसु क्षीरसमुद्रस्यापि गणना वर्तते एवं पराङ्कुशोऽप्यच्युत दिव्यधाम पयोधिरप्यच्युत दिव्यधाम न केवलमिदं यत् दिव्यं धाम वर्तते तत् अनेन पराङ्कुशेन न च्युतम् अयं पराङ्कुशः षठकोपः दिव्यं धाम इति यत् अस्ति श्रीवैकुण्ठलोकः तत्र अच्युततया नित्यसूरिष्वन्यतमः इति तत्र वर्तते एव इति अच्युत दिव्यधामत्वम् अन्यथापि भवति पराङ्कुशस्य पयोनिधौ अच्युतः शेते पराङ्कुशस्य हृदये च अच्युतः प्रविष्टः तदनन्तरम् अवसाने एकं पदम् असीम भूमा इति उभावपि असीम भूमानौ पराङ्कुशोऽप्यसीम भूमा पयोधिरप्यसीम भूमा असीम भूमा नाम सीमा रहितं बहुत्वं बहुत्वमेव भूमा शब्दस्य अर्थः। पयोधेः तादृश बहुत्वं वर्तते। षठकोपस्य कथम् असीम भूमत्वम् इति चेत् यत्र नान्यत् पश्यति नान्यत् शृणोति नान्यद् विजानाति स भूमा यो भूमा तदमृतम् इति उपनिषद्वर्णितः भूमा परमात्मा। असीमः भूमा यस्य सः अथवा यस्मिन् सः इति विग्रहं कृत्वा पराङ्कुश षठकोप मुनिरपि असीम भूमा भवति। तथा च पयोधिपति अच्युत दिव्यधाम भूत्वा पयोधिपति असीम भूमापि भूत्वा अयं पराङ्कुशः पयोधिपति वेदार्थ रत्न निधिरपि भूत्वा जीयात् जयतु इति परंपरा रूपकद्वारा पराङ्कुश स्तुतिं कृतवान् अयं कविः। अन्ते श्लेषालङ्कारस्य उदाहरणं सुन्दरस्य वनशैलवासिनः भोगमेव निज भोगमाभजन् शेष एष इति शेषता कृतेः प्रीतिमान् हि पति स्वनामनि इति आदिशेषस्य वर्णनं। भगवतः भोगमेव निज भोगम् आभजति आदिशेषः इति। अत्र भोग शब्दस्य द्वावर्थौ भोगः सुखे स्त्र्यादिभृतौ अहेश्च फणकाययोः इति नामलिंगानुशासनम्। अहेः कायः शरीरं भोग शब्दस्य अर्थो भवति। आदिशेषस्य भोगः अस्ति निज भोगमाभजन् इत्युक्तः भोगः। भोगः सुखे इति प्रथमोऽर्थः सुन्दरस्य वनशैलवासिनो भोगम् इत्यत्र। तथा च सुन्दरबाहोर्भोगमेव निज भोगम् आभजन्ने निज शरीरम् आभजन्ने अयम् आदिशेषः। शेष इति तस्य नाम। शेष शब्दस्यापि द्वावर्थौ प्रसिद्धौ। भगवान् शेषी तस्य सर्वे वयं शेषभूताः इति सर्वे वयं तद्दासाः तदर्थमेव प्रवृत्तिं विदधत वयं आदि। अतः आदिशेषोऽपि भगवतः शेषभूत एव। अस्मद्वत् आदिशेषस्य नामैव शेष इति। शेष एष इति शेषता कृतेः। अतः स्वनामनि प्रीतिमान् भवति अयम् अहीन्द्रः। शेषः इति यति स्वं नाम वर्तते तस्मिन् नामनि प्रीतिमान् भवति। तस्यैव नाम्नः भगवद्दास्य द्योतकत्वम् अस्ति इति हेतुना इति अस्मिन् श्लोके श्लेषालङ्कारः द्योतते। एवम् अनेके अलङ्काराः पुरेश काव्यानि अलङ्कुर्वन्ति। किं भूयसा प्रलपितेन इत्यपि श्लोकभागः पुरेशस्य। अस्यैव कवेः किं भूयसा प्रलपितेन इति वाक्यम् अहमपि उक्त्वा विरमामि। कूरनाथ कविः अत्यद्भुत पद्य प्रणेता विराजते इत्यलं। श्रीमते श्रीवत्साङ्क मिश्राय नमः।
एतत्पर्यन्तम् कुञ्चिका भाषणप्रदातॄणां कन्नन् स्वामिनां धन्यवादः। सामान्यतया कुरेशस्य विशेष प्रख्यातः वर्तते मुक्कुरुम्बरत्तवरिति। धनाढ्यः कुलाढ्यः मताढ्यः इति त्रिविधदोषरहितवान् सत्सम्पन्नः इति। तद्वत् एते महानुभाव कन्नन् स्वामी अपि कुरेशदर्शवत् अस्माकं संस्थायाः निकटे बहुनि कार्यक्रमेषु प्रोत्साहं दत्तवन्तः। अनन्तरम् अध्यक्षस्थाने विद्यमानानां कुलपतिवर्याणाम् अध्यक्षभाषणार्थं प्रार्थना क्रियते।
प्रणमामि। सर्वेभ्यः प्रणामाः। येधताम् इतिराजस्य साम्राज्यं सर्वतोमुखं यत्र संपत्कुमारोऽपि युवराज पदास्पदम्। मेल्कोटे शोध संस्थया संस्कृत शोध संसदा प्रचाल्यमानायाम् अस्यां गोष्ठ्यां श्रीमन्तः आचार्याः न व कन्नन स्वामिनः उद्घाटन भाषणं व्यदधुः। तेषां कृते अनंत प्रणाम पुरस्सरम् अहं धन्यवादान् समर्पयामि। एते च आचार्याः स्वनामधन्याः बहुषु विषयेषु पारं गताः। पारं गत इति शब्दार्थः यथावत् अत्र अन्वेति। गणितशास्त्रे अत्यन्तं निपुणाः एते। बिरुदावली भाजः राष्ट्रस्तरे विश्वस्तरे च बिरुदागमनेन एते अलङ्कृताः। बहु शिष्य युक्ताः एते गणितशास्त्रे। तथैव वेदान्तशास्त्रे अत्यन्तं निपुणाः। शास्त्ररहस्यज्ञाः एते। एवमेव शिष्टाः। कृष्णन् महाशयेन उक्तमस्ति मधुरान्तकं स्वामिनां दौहित्राः इति। तेन महाशयेन तेन उक्तमस्ति। स्वगुरूणां वरदाचार्य स्वामिनां शिष्याः पुत्राः इति उक्तमस्ति। तदपि सत्यम्। अन्यत् तेन त्यक्तमस्ति सोमयाजिनां यायुजुकानां स्वामिनां नावल्पाकं स्वामिनां एते पौत्राः। त्रीणि पिता पुत्रः तथा यशसः एते कुलेन प्रथिताः एते। एतत् सर्वम् एकत्र भवतु बाल्येन तिष्ठासेदिति श्रुतिः वदति। तस्मात् ब्राह्मण पाण्डित्यं निर्विद्य बाल्येन तिष्ठासेदिति। तत्र सतां वेदान्तदेशिकैः उक्तं सतां जात्यादि प्रयुक्तानां गुणानाम् अनाविष्करणम्। एतादृशपङ्क्तिः अत्र अस्ति इति स्मरामि। मुख्यः विषयः वर्तते, भवद्भिः अनुभूतः वर्तते। एते अत्यन्तं सरलकवयः। सहस्राधिकश्लोकाः एतैः निर्मिताः इति कथनम् अयुक्तं। सहस्रशः श्लोकाः एतैः निर्मिताः। तत्र प्रास यमक चक्रवर्ती शब्देन आचार्याः उच्यन्ते महान्तः। तद्वत् एते प्रास यमक चक्रवर्ती पदभाजः महान्तः कवयः एते। कविक्रान्तदर्शी इति। कथं तेषां तत्र प्रेजेंटेशन् इत्युच्यते किल, तेषां प्रस्तावः कथं वर्तते इति भवन्तः एव अनुभूतवन्तः। एते आचार्याः शिष्टाग्रेसराः। किं किं तेषां विषये वक्तव्यम्। एवं वक्तुं शक्यते, जगति गुणाः मनुष्याणाम् अपेक्षिताः भवेयुः। स च गुणग्रामः एतान् आश्रित्य नरी नृत्यति इति वक्तुं शक्यते। तदपेक्षया अन्य सारभूतं वचः नास्ति इति अहं मन्ये। ते आचार्याः श्रीवत्साङ्कमिश्राणां तत्र नक्षत्रं भवति हस्तनक्षत्रं, तन्नक्षत्रे एते आविर्भूताः अहं न जानामि, तेषां पितृपादाः हस्तनक्षत्रे एव सञ्जाताः। एतेषां नक्षत्रं तु तदेव इति अहं भावये मन्ये। तत्र श्रीवत्साङ्कमिश्राणां विषये प्रतिपादयितुं एते सर्वथा उत्कृष्टतया अर्हाः वर्तन्ते। वयं तु तैः अनुगृहीताः इति अहं स्वपक्षतः अहं भावये। तेषां कृते कार्तज्ञम् अहं निवेदयामि, सप्रश्रयं निवेदयामि, प्रणामसहितं निवेदयामि। भवन्तः अत्र आगताः इति महतः प्रमोदस्य विषयः इति। इतः परं मया अध्यक्षभाषणं कर्तव्यमिति किमपि अहं तु पञ्चस्तः विषये किमपि न जानामि। कांश्चन वाक्यविशेषान् श्रुत्वा स्मरामि, श्रवणपूर्वकं स्मरामि। यन्नास्त्येव तदज्ञताम् अनुगुणां सर्वज्ञतायाः विदुः इति अस्ति। अद्भुतः तत्र चमत्कारः। चमत्कारः इति तु लोकोत्कर्षः, लोकोत्कृष्टः, लोकोत्तरः कश्चन तत्र अनुभवविशेषः, मानसिकः कश्चन विशेषः भवति, चमत्कारशब्देन उच्यते। लोकोत्तरः अतिशयविशेषः चमत्कारः इति उच्यते। तदेव लोकोत्तर आह्लादजनकत्वघटितः कश्चन परिष्कारोऽपि उच्यते आलङ्कारिकैः। चमत्कारः कुरेशनाथानां तत्र ग्रन्थेषु वर्तते। एते कुरेशनाथाः श्रीभाष्यकाराणाम् अत्यन्तं प्रियाः शिष्याः। तत्र धारणायां महान्तः आसन्। सरस्वती भण्डारे श्रीभाष्यकारैः सह गत्वा एते अपठन् बोधायन वृत्तिं तदनन्तरं धारयित्वा, तस्मिन्नपि वयसि धारयित्वा श्रीभाष्यकारैः यत्र यत्र पृष्टं श्रीभाष्य लेखनकाले तदा एते तत्र उक्तवन्तः इति श्रुतिः वर्तते, सम्प्रदाये वर्तते गुरुपरम्परायां। तादृशाः कुरेशनाथाः सर्वं धनं परित्यज्य श्रीभाष्यकाराणां सेवायामेव एते आसन्। एतेषां विषये आचार्यैः वेदान्तदेशिकैः उच्यते च। तत्र श्रीमद् रहस्यत्रयसारे यदा श्रीभाष्यकाराः निर्याणार्थम् आसन्, परमपदं गन्तुकामाः आसन्, मुमूर्षवः आसन्, तस्मिन् समये अन्येपि शिष्याः प्रार्थयन् वयमपि भवद्भिः साकम् आगच्छामः इति। तस्मिन् समये श्रीभाष्यकारैः उक्तं पूरनाथस्य विषयः भवतां नास्ति इति। नाम श्रीभाष्यकारस्य कृते आत्मत्यागं, शरीरत्यागं कर्तुं ते सिद्धाः, तथा भवन्तः न सन्ति इति एतादृश व्याख्यानानि तत्र सन्ति। एते कुरनाथाः आचार्याः तत्र श्रीभाष्यकाराणां कृते शरीरत्यागमपि कर्तुं सिद्धाः आसन्। तेषां ग्रन्थेषु बहु द्रष्टुं शक्यते शास्त्रं। तदनन्तरकाले वेदान्तदेशिकानां ग्रन्थेषु वेदान्तशास्त्रं तु स्तोत्रेष्वपि स्फुटं भवति। कुरनाथानां, कुरेशाचार्याणां ग्रन्थे तावत् तथा स्फुटं न भवति, परन्तु तत्र एते स्वामिना यथा निरूपयन् तत्र निहितं भवति वेदान्तशास्त्रतत्त्वं। तत्र कुत्रचित् अस्ति, तत्र वक्षस्थले, तत्र अत्र नास्ति इति मन्ये, तत्र एतेषां तत्र श्रीस्तवः यद्यपि लघुग्रन्थः तत्र सर्वेपि विषयाः सन्ति, सर्वमपि तत्त्वं वर्तते। अतिमानुषस्तवः भगवतः तत्र रामस्य विषये वर्तते। एतादृशग्रन्थनिर्माणेन अत्यन्तं प्रसिद्धाः आचार्याः सम्प्रदायधुरन्धराः आसन्, तदेव वैशिष्ट्यं तेषां। सम्प्रदायधुरन्धराः आसन्, तेषां विषये इयं तत्र उपन्यासमालिका रचिता अस्माकं ASR किमुच्यते, ASR इति किल, अकाडेमी आफ् संस्कृत रिसर्च, संस्कृत संशोधन संसदा, तेषां कृते अहं धन्यवादान् समर्पयामि। तत्र निर्देशकाः डॉक्टर नामण्णवर महाभागाः, ते एतेव सञ्चालकाः। तेषां गोष्ठ्यां वर्तमानाः बहवः विद्वांसः, तान् सर्वान् अपि अहम् अभिनन्दामि। विशिष्य मेलुकोटे संस्थायाः निदेशकः अभिनन्द्यते, कुमार महाभागः। अत्र अस्यां गोष्ठ्याम् आगत्य सभाजयति अस्माकं कुलसचिवः प्रोफेसर गिरीशचन्द्र महाभागः, तस्य अभिनन्दनं भवति। अहं एतावता विरमामि, अनन्तरं भवति तदर्थमपि मम वाक्यानि श्रावयामि। एतदनन्तरं इयं गोष्ठी इदानीम् अत्र समाप्ता। इतः परम् अस्माकं तत्र प्राथमिक उपन्यासः भवति। प्राथमिकः उपन्यासः श्रीमता विदुषा रंगनाथ महाभागेन क्रियते, वेलुकुडि रंगनाथ महाभागेन क्रियते। किं भवति, रंगनाथ महोदयेन क्रियते। सा सभा आरभ्यताम् इति अहम् उक्त्वा विरमामि। अडियन् दासन्
अध्यक्षभाषणप्रदातॄणां कुलपतिवर्याणां धन्यवादः। अनन्तरं कार्यक्रमस्य कार्यक्रमार्थं संस्थायाः कुलसचिवानां प्रार्थना क्रियते।
Srimade Ramanujaya Namaha. First, I thank you all and the delegates who enlightened the inaugural function in this webinar meeting. It is a proud privilege, great honor to offer vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion of Sri Kuresh Pancastava Special on behalf of the ASR and Karnataka University. I extended my thanks to honorable and respected chief guest, Professor U Kannan Swamy, former Pro Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad, for entering keynote address, which we all enjoy. Dhanyosmi Dasan. It is my pleasure and duty to thank our honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor U K. Devanathan Sir, Karnataka Sanskrit University, Bangalore, for his presence as the chairperson and organizing this webinar, and he suggested the significant topic as well as the skilled speakers related to the topic. He made the wonderful presidential speech about the webinar. Dhanyos Swami. I also thanks Professor V. Girish Chandra, the Registrar of KSU, and Srimati Goda Gopal, the syndicate member, and all the other syndicate members and council members and administrative and research advisory committee members of KSR for their presence in this inaugural function. I like to thank Dr. Nominal, Director of KSR. It is my pleasure to thank his greatness in arranging this webinar. I thank the scholars of the ASR, Vidwan Krishnan and Srinivasan and Sampat Kumar, and Assistant Registrar of P. Jaitirtha. And my special thanks to the scholars of MP Sharutar Narayan, R.K. Narayan, and S.N. Anand Alvar, and Rangapriya and Srina, and other staff of ASR, and particularly KSU deans, professors, and assistant professors, and Nagendra Murthy, and all other staff members and volunteers for making arrangement to gather this room meeting and put their efforts behind the screen to make this meeting so successful. I thank all the eminent speakers who are going to present and share their views in the topics assigned to them. I extend my thanks to all the audience to keep watching the valuable speeches till the end and make this function a grand success. Thank you one and all. Srimati Ramanujan.
प्रदातॄणां कुलसचिवानां धन्यवादः। अनन्तरं कार्यक्रमस्य प्रथमोपन्यासिका मालिकारूपेण श्रीवैकुण्ठस्थविषयकमधिकृत्य श्रीवो वेलुकुडि रङ्गनाथन् महोदयानां प्रार्थना क्रियते। एते अनेकलौकिकविद्यानां पारङ्गतत्वेपि वैदिकविद्यासम्पादनार्थं गुरुकुलकृष्टो मुरारिः इत्युक्तप्रकारेण गुरुशुश्रूषया विद्या पुष्कलेन धनेन च इत्युक्तप्रकारेण अपि अस्मत्कुलपतिवर्याणां सकाशे संपूर्ण कालक्षेपं कृतवन्तः। एतेषां पितामहः पितृवर्यः महामेधाविलासयुक्ताः पुराणोक्तप्रकारेण आस्फोटयन्ति पितरः प्रणत्यन्ति पितामहाः वैष्णवोरकुले जातः सनः सन्तारयिष्यसि इत्युक्तप्रकारेण सत्कुलसम्पन्नोऽयं श्रीवो वेलुकुडि रङ्गनाथन् महोदयः। एतेषाम् आस्वादनार्थम् अयं प्रार्थना क्रियते। श्रीवेङ्कटविषयकं प्रति उपन्यासः करणीयः इति प्रार्थना क्रियते।
कृष्णन् स्वामी केट ज्ञापिच्चुडु स्वामी कण्णन् स्वामी அவர் எழுறதா எழுதலாம் சொல்லுங்க. ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಆಯಿಡುತ್ತುன்னு சொல்லுங்க. ಅವರಿಗೆ ವಿಜ್ಞಾಪಿಸಿಡುங்க.
कन्नन् स्वामिनां प्रति महाधन्यवादः। एतत् कार्यः उद्घाटनकार्यक्रमः समाप्तः। अनन्तरम् उपन्यासमालिका आरभ्यते।
அடியன் தாசன் சுவாமி ரொம்ப ரொம்ப சிரமப்பட்டு சாட்சி.
पुनः धन्यवादाः समर्प्यन्ते।
अदे अडियन् पुनः 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 धन्यवादः। अडियन् अडियन्
महान् धन्यवादः।
रङ्गनाथन् महोदय
अडियन्
अडियन् आरब्धुं शक्यते वा?
आरब्धुं शक्यते।
लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। नमः सभायै। अत्र वर्तमानानां मुख्य अतिथिवर्याणाम् अध्यक्षाणाम् अन्येषां विदुषां च पादारविन्दयोः मदीयान् नमस्कारान् समर्प्य वैकुण्ठस्थवविषये यथामति वक्तुं प्रयत्नं करोमि। अत्र आङ्ग्लभाषया वक्तव्यम् इति सञ्चालकैः आदिष्टोऽहम्। अतः इतः प्रभृति आङ्ग्लभाषया वदामि।
भवान् आङ्ग्लभाषायां वदति, वयम् आङ्ग्लभाषां न जानीमः।
श्रीवत्सचिह्नमिश्रेभ्यो नममुक्तिमधीमहे यदुक्तयस्त्रयीकण्ठे यान्ति मङ्गलसूत्रताम्। Srimanarayana, who is the Lord and Controller of this universe, gives birth to a lineage of acharyas so that even ignorant people like us can learn about him and try to attain mukti. Swami Vedanta Deshika says that this acharya parampara is nothing but an outpouring of the daya of Lord Srinivasa. Srinivasa dayamodhi parivaha paramparam vigahe tirtha bahulam shitalam guru santatim. It is an outpouring of cold water in this samsara, which gives us three kinds of tapas: adhyatmika, adhibhautika and adhidaivika. Bhagavan is one cool pond of water, and this lineage of acharyas is another water body that is cool, and it quenches all our thirst and our tapa. In that great lineage of Acharyas, Swami Ramanuja is considered as the Nayaka Ratnam. Amuna Tapanati Bhumna Yatirajena Nibaddha Nayaka Shrihi Mahati Guru Pankti Hara Yashrihi
Vibudhanam
Hridayangama Vibhati.
Vibhati.
So in this garland of Acharyas, although Swami Ramanuja is considered the Nayaka or the central preceptor, there are many other Acharyas who have made significant contributions to the upliftment of the society. As far as the society is concerned, Vedanta Granthas, commentaries on core Vedantic texts or Sri Vaishnava texts is important, but it is equally important to construct certain stotra granthams so that the layman can chant them and understand the greatness, the qualities, and the cheshtitams, the leela that Bhagavan performs. Not everyone is capable of reading Sri Bhashyam or reading Siddhitrayam or any other Upanishadic texts. So what these great Acharyas did was they took these important concepts from the Upanishads and they created stotrams which had them imbibed in them. Swadayarniha sarvesham trayantartham sudurgraham stotrayamasa yogindraha tam vande yamunakvayam. Swami Alavandar was the one who started this. He wrote Siddhitrayam, he wrote Agama Pramanyam, but on the side, he also wrote Chatushloki and Stotra Tatnam, so that all Sri Vaishnavas can learn them, chant them every day, and understand the greatness of Bhagavan. There have been many preceptors who have written stotrams in this manner, but Kuresha holds a very special place amongst them. That is evident from the Taniyan that we chant about him. Srivatsachinha Mishrebhyo Nama Ukti Madhimahe Yeduktayaha Trayikanthe Yanti Mangala Sutratam. The words or the works of Srivatsachinha Mishra or Kuresha are considered to be the Mangala Sutra on the neck of the Veda herself. The Vedas are here personified as a lady, and the Mangala Sutra on her neck is considered to be the Pancastava written by Kuresha. Now, what is the significance of the Mangala Sutra? If the Mangala Sutra is there, then the woman is eligible to adorn herself with many other ornaments also. Pillai Lokacharya in his Sri Vachana Bhushanam at the end says, Thali Kedandal Bhushanangal Panni Punalam, Thali Ponal Bhushanangalallam Avadyatai Vilaikum. Although the example is used in a different context there, the purport of the example holds here too. If the Mangala Sutra is not there, a woman is not eligible to adorn herself with many other ornaments. So suppose there is one who is wearing a Mangala Sutra, but she does not have the money or the power to buy new ornaments. She can do so at a later time. But if a woman does not have the Mangala Sutra, then adorning herself with other ornaments is considered wrong. So the Vedas foremost need a Mangala Sutra, and that Mangala Sutra is the work of Sri Kuresha. So this shows the importance of his works amongst all the Stotra Granthams. Now, amongst them, Vaikuntha Stavam is considered by many to be the first Stavam that was written by him. He had to move away from Srirangam due to many hindrances that Sri Vaishnavas faced from the kings of those times. Swami Ramanuja had fled to Tirunarayanapuram. Kuresha had lost his eyes and he could not stay in Srirangam any longer, and so he traveled to Tirumalarum Sholamalai. On the way, it is said that he wrote or he composed Vaikuntha Stavam and all the others one by one. Varadaraja Stavam was the last one or the penultimate one that he composed, and Sri Vaikuntha Stavam is considered to be the first one. Now, it is my fortune that I have been ordered to speak on this great work of Sri Kuresha, because it is only this stotram that follows the right path that every Sri Vaishnava should follow to attain God. Since it is the month of Margadi, it comes to mind that Andal also follows the same method. Nammalvar says, Vedam vallargalai kondu Vinnor Peruman Tiruppadam Panindu. Before going to prostrate before Bhagavan, we must first fall at the feet of his bhaktas and then take the permission of the Nityasuris and Mahalakshmi and then go and fall at the feet of Bhagavan. This is the path that everyone has to follow. If we were to stray from this path, then it would only result in pain for us. Shurpanaka did not want Sita, wanted Rama alone, and she got her nose and ears cut. Ravana did not want to reach Rama. He wanted Sita alone for himself, and he lost his life. So this Mithunam and their devotees are all the path through which we must go to him. So in this Tavam, at the beginning, Kuresha has some stanzas, Mangala Acharanam stanzas towards Swami Ramanuja and Swami Nammadvar. This is not present in any of the other Stavams. The first shloka here is about Swami Ramanuja, and then he goes on to talk about Swami Nammadvar, and he starts the Stavam. There is a kind of progression, mental progression that we can take here. First, in the first few stanzas, he says that I am not qualified to talk about Bhagavan, but nevertheless, it is for my satta, it is for my being that I am doing so. Then he starts by saying that the Vedas are the primary pramanam through which Bhagavan can be known, and all the Vedas say that Sriman Narayana is the supreme being. Then he goes on to say that Narayana has two vibhutis, the Leela vibhuti and the Nitya vibhuti, and from this is up to the 40th shloka. Then from the 41st shloka onwards, he starts describing how Vaikuntham is, how one can reach it, whether he is eligible to reach it or not, and how he longs to reach it at the end of this life. So this is the progression that is followed in this text, the Petika Vibhaga that we can follow. The first shloka is about Swami Ramanuja. We all chant this daily, Yo Nityam Achyuta Padambuja Yugma Rukma Vyamohatas Taditarani Trinaya Mene Asmadguror Bhagavatosya Dayeka Sindhoho Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapatye. He bows and prostrates at the feet of Swami Ramanuja. He who considered everything other than the holy feet of Sriman Narayana as nothing, as puny. Yo Nityam Achyuta Padambuja Yugma Rukma. Swami Ramanuja was very much desirous of gold, but the gold that he sought was the Pottramarai Adi of Bhagavan. Pon Tamarai Adi, Un Pottramarai Adiye Portrum Porul Kelai is the song of Andal. It is Pon and it is Tamarai, which means it is both pure and purifying, and it is also enjoyable. Since it is gold-like, it is purifying and pure by itself. And since it is Tamarai like a lotus, it is very enjoyable and pleasant to watch. Yo Nityam Achyuta Padambuja Yugma Rukma. The 2 feet of Sriman Narayana are the gold that Ramanuja always wanted to reach. And because of that Vyamoha, that exceeding desire, that very well-grown desire, he did not consider anything else to be important at all. Itarani Trinaya Mene. It is said that Sita, when talking to Ravana, plucked a stream of grass from the Ashokavana, put it between her and Ravana and started speaking. That is because Ravana had tried to convince her to marry him by showing many luxuries or many wondrous gifts that he could give her. Sita wanted to show that all that he had offered to her was equal to this blade of grass. And so, Trinam Antaratah Kritva Pratyuvacha Shuchismita is the words of Valmiki. So, Swami Ramanuja too considered everything other than the holy feet of Sriman Narayana to be a blade of grass. Itarani Trinaya Mene Asmad Guroho. A guru is one who removes darkness. Gukaras Tvandhakarasyat Rukaras Tan Nirodhakaha. The word guru means he who removes darkness. So Swami Ramanuja is the guru for us all. Punyam Bhoja Vikasaya Papa Dvanta Kshayaya Cha. This Dvantam, this tamas, is sometimes told to be ignorance. Ajnanam is called the Dvantam or the Andhakara. Sometimes Papa is said to be the Andhakara. Whatever it may be, Swami Ramanuja removes all the darkness that is in our mind. Asmad Guroho Bhagavatosya Dayika Sindhoho. Krishna or Sriman Narayana sometimes is also enraged when he sees all the sins that we commit. Hitevatvat preyan janani paripurnagasi jane hitasroto vritya bhavaticha kadachit kalushadhihi. Although he is very compassionate towards his devotees, sometimes Bhagavan too, since he acts in the role of a father and so wants to give punishment to us sometimes, he punishes us for our sins, and he is an ocean of compassion alone. Instead of grasping the feet of Narayana, Kuresha has jumped to another 4 letters. Nached Ramanujetyesha Chatura Chaturakshari. The word Narayana is only capable of uplifting those who have bhakti and don't have many sins. But the word Ramanuja is capable of uplifting everyone in this world. So he says, Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye. This is the first sloka. Then by 2 slokas, he praises Swami Nammalvar. One of them, we do not have the time to go through all of them. Traividya Vriddhajanamurdha Vibhushanam Yat Sampacha Satvika Janasya Yadeva Nityam Yadva Sharanyam Asharanya Janasya Punyam Tat Samshrayema Vakulabharanangri Yugmam. The 2 feet of Vakulabharana, Swami Nammalvar, are the ornament that should adorn all our foreheads. Traividya Vriddhajanamurdha Vibhushanam Yat. All those who are well versed in the Trayi or the 3 Vedas, the 4 Vedas, which are called Trayi since they are made of Rik, Sama and Yajus, all of them have the holy feet of Swami Nammalvar as the ornament on their foreheads. Sampacha Satvika Janasya Yadeva Nityam. For all Satvikas, the feet of Swami Nammalvar is wealth. Thanattalum Yedum Kuraivilen Yenda Shadahoban Padangal Yamudaya Patru are the words of Madhurakavi Alvar. Dhanattalum Yedum Kuraivilen. I have no dearth of wealth. I am very wealthy because I have the holy feet of Nammalvar in me. Sampacha Satvika Janasya Yadeva Nityam Yadva Sharanyam Asharanya Janasya Punyam. For those who have been left out by all others, the only sole refuge is Swami Nammalvar. Nanmayal Mikkan Anmarayalargal Punmayaha Karuduvar Adalil Annayay Attanay Ennai Andidum Tanmayan. Nan Marayalargal Punmayaha Karuduvar. All those who were well versed in the Vedas did not want to preach to Madhurakavi Alvar at all because they thought he was of no use. He could never be uplifted. But even then, although Madhurakavi Alvar is said to possess so many sins, Swami Nammalvar did not care about them. Annayai Attanai Ennai Andidum Tanmayan. Like a mother and father, Swami Nammalvar removed all the sins of Madhurakavi Alvar and took him to Mukti. So there he says, Swami Kuresha says that the feet of such an Nammalvar are bhushanam for our foreheads. Now after this, he starts talking about his Naichyam, how he is not eligible to praise God, but nevertheless, he cannot hold his life, or he cannot hold on to his satta at all without talking about God. Then he goes on to say that Vedas are the sole pramanam that preach about God. We say Manadina Meya Siddhihi. So first he talks about the pramanam, that is the Vedas. Agnya Tavatra Bhavati Vidita Trayisa Tamhi Pramanam Upajagmur Atindriyerthe Abhasa Bhuyam Abhiyantyaparani Doshaihi Yeshatu Dosha Rahita Mahita Purani. The Vedas are said to be Apaurusheya. They were not created by anyone at any point of time. Anadi Nidhana Hyesha Vagutsrishta Swayambhuva Adau Vedamayi Varta. The words that constitute the Vedas are always eternal. It means that these words are always present in the same order. The Anupurvi in which the Vedas are chanted are always the same. So Dosha Rahita Mahita Purani. Since they are Apaurusheya, there is no chance for any doshas to creep in. When can a Shabda Pramanam have doshas? It is only when the one who utters those words has some dosha like Pramada, Vipralipsa, Ajnanam, Brahma or Karana Apatava. Since the Vedas are Apurusheya, the creator of the Vedas does not have any doshas because there is no such creator at all. Therefore, atra bhavati vidita trayisa agnya tava. They are the commands of Bhagavan. It through the Vedas and the Smritis, Bhagavan commands what each Atma should do and should not do. Shruti Smritir Mamaivagnya Yastam Ullanghya Vartate are the words of Bhagavan himself. So the Vedas are the only pramanam through which we can know about something that is beyond our senses. Pramanam upajagmur atindriyerthe. For things that we can see, we don't need the Vedas at all. Asannikrishta vachacha dvayamatra jihasitam tadrupyena parichittihi tad viparyayatopiva. The Vedas are not there to preach to us that there is a goat here, there is a tree here, there is a river here. We know that through our senses itself. The Vedas do not preach that this goat is false, or that this tree is Maya, or the river does not exist also, because that is against the Pratyaksha Pramanam itself. What the Vedas do is preach about the Atindriyartha, that is, there is a Jivatma inside these bodies, there is a Paramatma who resides inside all of them, and he controls all of this. Atindriyerthe pramanam upajagmuhu. So the Vedas are the only pramanam through which we can learn about anything that is beyond our senses. And Bhagavan is definitely beyond our senses. Adreshyam agrahyam achakshushrottram, says the Upanishads. So he next goes to the step that the Vedas are the conduit through which, or the pramanam through which we can know about Bhagavan. Then in the 23rd shloka, he picks the most important part of the Vedas. Vedeshu paurusham suktam dharmashastreshu manavam bharate bhagavad gita puraneshu cha vaishnavam. This shloka tells us what is the crux of each of these texts. The crux of the Vedas is the Purusha Sukta itself, because it is present in all the 4 Vedas. Sarva Shruti Shvanugatam Sthiram Aprakampyam Narayanakhvayadharam Twamivana Vadyam Suktam tu Paurusham Ashesha Jagat Pavitram Twamuttamam Purusham Isham Udajahara. This Purusha Suktam is sufficient to establish that Sriman Narayana is the Purushottama. Sahasra Shirusha Purushaha, Sahasrakshaha, Sahasrapat. It starts to say that Sriman Narayana is the one who created this universe and he is the Purushottama. So this Purusha Suktam, which is the crux of the Vedas itself, which tells us the purport of the Vedas, clearly states that Sriman Narayana is the Supreme Being. So first he said the Shrutis are the pramanam through which we can know the Supreme Being. Next he lifts us to the stage where the Purusha Sukta says Sriman Narayana is the Supreme Being. Then Kuresha says that this is not against the verses that talk about Karanam. The Vedas say, the Upanishads say, Karanam tu Dhyeyaha. He who is the creator and sustainer and destroyer of this universe is Brahman. Now the Purusha Suktam says Sriman Narayana is Purushottama. Are these two contradictory? Kuresha says no. Yenmula Karanam Abudhyata Srishtivakyaihi Brahmetiva Saditiva Atma Girathava Tat Narayanastviti Mahopanishad Braviti Saubaliki Prabhritayo Pyanujagmurenam. There are many verses in the Upanishads, many passages that talk in general terms. Sadeva Somyedam Agra Asit, Brahmama Idam Agra Asit, Atmava Idam Ekayeva Agra Asit. All these sentences, these passages use general terms. The word Sat refers to anything that exists. Sat means Satta Yogi, anything that exists. So it could be the Jivatma, it could be Prakriti itself, it could be Paramatma also. Any of these could be the creator of this world if we consider this sentence alone. Sadeva Somyedam Agra Asit. Now, the next step, it says, the Upanishad says, Brahmava Agra Asit. That which was the creator of this world is something that is big, Brahma. But then again, Tasmad Etad Rupam Annamcha Jayate. Etad Brahma Nama Rupam Annamcha Jayate. Prakriti also is sometimes referred to as Brahma. The Jivatma, the Parishuddha Jivatma who is devoid of his body, Nirdosham hi Samam Brahma. The Nishkrishta Atma Swarupam is also called Brahma sometimes. So we cannot conclude who is the Karanam of this Jagat using this verse alone. Again, Atma va idam ekayeva agra asit. The word Atma is also ambiguous. It could mean Jivatma or Paramatma. So all these Upanishadic verses are ambiguous, they are general. So the Mahopanishad steps in to clarify who is the creator of this universe. Eko havai Narayana asit na Brahma neshanaha neme dyava prithvi na nakshatrani. There was only Narayana before this whole world was created. These dyava prithvi, this akasha or this Dyuloka and Prithvi were not there. The stars were not there. Brahma or Isha were not there. Onrum tevum ulahum uyirum மற்றும் யாதுமில்லா வன்னு நான்முகன் தன்னோடு தேவர் உலகோடு உயிர் படைத்தான், says Nammalvar in his Onnum Tevam Padikam. So Mahopanishad clarifies that the words Sat, Brahma, Atma are not contradictory. They all refer to Narayana. And Saubaliki Prabhritayopi Anujagmurenam, the Saubaliki Upanishad, Subalopanishad and others too say Sayesha Sarvabhutantaratma Apahatapapma Divyo Deva Eko Narayanaha. He who resides within every object in this world and is devoid of any sin is none other than Narayana himself. So all these verses put together will help us conclude that the Karanam that is extolled in the Upanishads and the Purushottama who is praised in the Purusha Sukta are the one and the same. This is how Kuresha progresses in his work. Next, in the 39th and 40th shlokas, Kuresha says that this Brahman, this Sriman Narayana, has two vibhutis. The 39th shloka talks about the Leela vibhuti and the 40th introduces the Nitya vibhuti. He is going to talk about the Nitya vibhuti Vaikuntham in all the remaining verses of this text. So the 40th shloka introduces Nitya vibhuti. Yat samvritam dashagunottara sapta tattvaihi andam chaturdasha jagat bhava dhatru dhama andani tat susadrishani parashyatani Krida vidhestava parichadatam agachan. He says that this 14 lokas which comprise the anda, bhuhu, bhuvaha, suvaha and up to Satyaloka above, atala, vitala, nitala, rasatala, talatala, sutala, patala, below. These 14 lokas comprise the anda. This anda is surrounded by 7 avaranas, Prithvi, Apu, Tejas, Vayu, Akasha, Ahankara and Mahan. These 7 tattvas are engulfing this anda, one after the other, and each engulfment or each of these is 10 times as wide as the other. Dasha gunitottara sapta tattvaihi samvritam. This is the formation or the structure of the anda. There is not just one anda like this. Andanam tu sahasranam sahasranya yutanicha idrishanam tatha tatra koti shatanicha, says the Puranas. So there are, you cannot count, you need not multiply this sahasranam, sahasrani, ayutani, koti. Do not try multiplying. It means that there is uncountable. It is infinite. So there are infinite such andams. All these together make up the Leela Vibhuti, and it is called the Leela Vibhuti because Bhagavan creates and destroys. Again creates and again destroys this whole Leela Vibhuti for his Leela, for his happiness, temporary happiness alone. Kridato balakasyaiva cheshtam tasya nishamaya is a verse in Vishnu Purana. Just as a boy plays with some ball, or a big king can also play with a ball, although he has all his wishes fulfilled, Bhagavan, who is also Avapta Samasta Kama, still plays with this world so that he can experience that Leela Rasa. So the 39th shloka talks about the Leela Vibhuti. The 40th shloka says, Ichha vihara vidhaye vihitanyamuni syat tvad vibhuti lavalesha kalayutamshaha yavai najatu parinama padaspadam sa kalatiga tavapara mahi vibhutihi. All that was spoken about before. This Leela Vibhuti is temporary. It is created and destroyed, and it is there for Bhagavan's play alone. There is another Vibhuti, another superior Vibhuti that Bhagavan possesses, that is called the Nitya Vibhuti. Na parinama padaspadam. Kuresha does not say that the world does not have parinama. He says the world does not associate itself with the word parinama at all. Parinama padaspadam nasa. It is not associated with the word at all. And kalatiga. It is not bound by time. Nakalas tatravai prabhuhu. People there do not look at the clock. So there is a discourse going on now. They don't have to look at the clock to see when they have to conclude the Upanyasa. People there will go on. Shootu nanmalekal thuyanayendi, vinnorhal nanneeratti and dupantara nirkave. The Nitya Suris there were performing Aradhanam for Bhagavan. And while they were doing the Dupa Harati, Bhagavan took birth as Krishna concluded 120 years of life in this world and went back to Sri Vaikuntha, and they were still performing the same Dhupaharati. So Nakalas Tatravai Prabhu Kalatika Tava Para Mahati Vibhutihi. It is superior to this Leela Vibhuti, because that is, he says why it is superior in the following verses. Next, from the 41st verse to the 45th verse, it is called a Gulakam, which is these 5 verses have to be read together. There is a Kriya Padam only in the last verse, in the 45th verse. The first 4 verses do not have any Kriya Padam at all. Yad Vaishnavam hi Paramam Padam Amananti, Kamva Yadeva Paramam Tamasaf Parastat, Tejomayam Paramasatvamayam Dhruvam Yat, Anandakandam Atisundaram Adbhutam Yat. It goes on. He uses Yat Shabda again and again and again in the first 4 verses, and then in the final 45th verse, Vaikuntha Nama Tavadhama Tadamananti, the word Tat, which is to complete all these Yat Shabdas, is present in the 45th verse. Vaishnavam hi Paramam Padam Amananti. Vishnu of Paramam Padam, it is referred to by the word Vishnu. And Kamva Yadeva Paramam Tamasaf Parastat. It is beyond this Prakriti itself. Tamasaha, Tamasaf Paramodhata Shankachakra Gadadharaha. Mandodari, when she is praising Rama, says, you are the one who is present beyond the tamas itself. That is, you are present in Nitya Vibhuti Sri Vaikuntham. Tamasaf Parastat, Kamva Yadeva Paramam. Kam means Akasha. So it is the supreme Akasha. Alvar says, Magha Vaikundam Kanbadark, Yen Manam Yeha Vendum Irapahal. Day and night, my mind is always desiring to reach Magha Vaikundam. Makam. That is, in Tamil it is referred as Magha Vaikundam. It is actually Makam, the supreme Akasha, that Kuresha also states here. Magha Vaikundam Kanbadark, Yen Manam Yeha Vendum Irapahal Enshaihe. Kamva Yadeva Paramam Tamasaf Parastat, Tejo Mayam, Paramasatva Mayam, Dhruvam Yat. This Sri Vaikuntham is made of the substance called Shuddha Sattva, or it is not Mishra Sattva. This Prakriti and all the products of Prakriti are comprised, or they possess Sattva-guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. But the Shuddha Sattvam, which has only Sattva-guna, constitutes the all of the Sri Vaikuntham itself. So Tejo Mayam, Paramasatvamayam Dhruvam Yat. It is always steady. It is never destroyed, or it does not face any decline also. Ayodhya is a name given to the Vaikuntham also. Tejo Mayam. It has a lot of effulgence, or it is lustrous. The Alvars many times refer to as Shudaroli or Tannudai Chodi. In many Vyakhyanas, it is referred to as Tannudai Chodi. It means it is the abode of, it's his God's own abode, and it is very lustrous. Ananda Kandam Atisundaram Adbhutam Yat. It is the source or the root of all Ananda, because here we experience sorrow along with Ananda. But when we reach Moksha, Yeshahyeva Anandayati, Bhagavan feeds us with his own Ananda. And so this is the Bhumi where we can experience his Ananda. Ananda Kandam Ati Sundaram Adbhutam Yat. It is astonishing and it is very beautiful. Next, how can it be reached? The 45th shloka says, Nishkalmashaihi Nihata Janma Jara Vikaraihi Bhuyishta Bhakti Vibhavai Rabhavai Ravapyam Anyai Radhanya Purushair Manasapyanapyam Vaikunthanama Tavadhama Tadamananti. Tavadhama, it is the abode of Sriman Narayana. Vaikunthanama, it is called Vaikunta. How is it? How can it be reached? Who can reach it? Nishkalmashaihi Nihata Janma Jara Vikaraihi. Only those who have gotten rid of all blemishes like Papa and Punya. Nihata Janma Jara Vikaraihi. They should not have the Shad Bhava Vikaras like Janma, Jara, or here it is not referring to the Shad Bhava Vikaras, all Vikaras in general, like Janma, old age, or any decline in that way. Nishkalmashaihi Nihata Janma Jara Vikaraihi. All transformations, Swarupa Vikaras like Janma or Jara are not present for anybody who is there in Sri Vaikuntham. So all Muktatmas who reach Sri Vaikuntham get rid of their sins, get rid of their merits also. Punya also is against Vaikuntham. That is why it is referred to by the word Papa many times. Ashwaiva Romani Vidhuya Papam. This verse, the word Papa refers to both Papa and Punya, because as far as Moksha is concerned, just as Papa stops us from reaching Mukti, Punya also is a hurdle to reach Mukti itself. So nishkalmashaihi, nihata janma jara vikaraihi, bhuyishta bhakti vibhavaihi. They have many stages: parabhakti, parajnana, paramabhakti. They cannot live without being together with Bhagavan anymore. So they reach Vaikuntham. Vibhavaihi abhavai ravapyam. They do not take birth in this world anymore. Nacha punaravartate is the word or the words of Vedavyasa. So abhavaihi avapyam. Anyaihi adhanya purushaihi manasapyanapyam. Others who do not have the fortune of being in such a way cannot even think of Vaikuntham using their minds. Brahma himself says, Yenna devaha na munayaha na chaham na cha shankaraha jananti parameshasya tad vishnof paramam padam. None of us who are samsaris in this world, also they may be elevated souls as far as we are concerned. They may be superior or meritorious souls as far as we are concerned. Even they cannot reach mukti at all. It is sometimes jokingly said that there is one person standing on the ground and he looks at the moon and says it is very far away. He looked at someone who is standing on the first floor or on top of a loft and asked him whether the moon is very close to him. It is not. The person on the ground and the person on top of a loft are almost equally distant from the moon. So similarly, us in this bhumi and Brahma who is in Satyaloka are equally distant from Bhagavan or Sri Vaikuntham. So only those who have gotten rid of all their blemishes can reach Vaikuntham. Anyair adhanya purushair manasapyanapyam Vaikuntadama tavadama Vaikuntanama tavadama tadamananti. Next, Kuresha wishes to reach that Vaikuntham and join with Bhagavan. He wants to be together with Bhagavan. The 69th verse. I am jumping a lot of verses here, but we are short of time. Bhru vibhramena mrudu shita vilokitena mandasmitena madhuraksharayacha vacha prema prakarsha pishunena vikasinacha sambhavayishyasi kada mukha pankajena. He wants to behold Paramatma and see his face and how happy it is. Bhru vibhramena. He wants to see the movements of Bhagavan's eyebrows. Mrudu shitala vilokitena. Bhagavan's pleasing grace. Chakshusha tava saumyena putasmi raghunandana. Shabari says she has been purified by the gaze of Lord Rama. And Vibhishana also says, when Vibhishana came and fell at the feet of Bhagavan, Vibhishana was consoled by Rama. Lochanabhyam pibanniva vachasa santvayitveinam lochanabhyam pibanniva. Rama consoled Vibhishana using his words. Similarly, when a Muktatma reaches Sri Vaikuntham, he has undergone a lot of pain in this samsara till now. So Bhagavan, using his pleasing or melodious words, removes all the tapa that this Jivatma had earlier enjoyed. Mrudu Shita Vilokitena. The gaze itself will cool us. Mandasmitena Madhuraksharayacha Vacha. It is very sweet verses that Bhagavan utters. Prema Prakarsha Pishunena Vikasinacha Mukha Pankajena. The face of Bhagavan is like a lotus, and now it is completely fully blossomed when it sees this Muktatma. Pillai Lokacharya says, Praptavum Prapakanum Praptikku Uhappanum Avane. We should not think that I, the Jivatma, have gone through a lot of stress so that I can attain Paramatma and enjoy. We have known about Paramatma only for say 50 years. We can for sure say that until my previous birth, I have not performed Sharanagati. So only in this birth have I come to know of Bhagavan. So my longing to reach Bhagavan maybe could be for 50 years or 40 years. But the longing that Bhagavan has had to attain me is for crores and crores of years. So when this Jivatma attains Bhagavan, it is not the Jivatma who attains anything. Paramatma attains this Jivatma. And who is the Prapaka? It is Paramatma who is the Prapaka also. And Praptikku Uhappanam Avane, the one who is pleased by reaching this Jivatma or by this union of the Paramatma and Jivatma is also the Paramatma. Praptikku Uhappan. So all that Uhap, that delight is shown in the face of Bhagavan. Prema Prakarsha Pishunena Mukha Pankajena. The Mukha Pankaja is completely blossomed Vikasina. And Prema Prakarsha Pishunena. Bhagavan has so much love for his bhaktas. Priyo hi jnaninaha atyarthamaham sacha mama priyaha yo me bhaktaha same priyaha. In all these verses he says his bhakta is very much as a priya for him. So he shows all that preeti in his face, and Kuresha wants to go to Vaikuntham and behold that face for once. So in this verse, he says he wants to go and join with Bhagavan. But in the 77th verse, he changes his goal completely. Kainkarya nitya nirataihi bhavadeka bhogaihi nityair anukshana navina rasardra bhavaihi nityabhivanchita paraspara nicha bhavaihi mad daivataihi parijanaistava sangasiya. All our preceptors have made this jump at some point of time. Swami Nammalvar, in his second pattu, the second 100 verses, Yemma vittu thiramum sheppam, here he says, Yanakke atshai ekkalattumennu, yen manakke vandu idai veedin nimanni, tanakke yaha yanaikollu meede. Nammalvar says, my goal is to perform kainkaryam for Bhagavan, and that kainkaryam should be for his pleasure alone. These are the words of Nammalvar in the second decade. And in the third one also he says, Vadivil kalamellam udanai manni vadivila adime seyya vendumna. So in the first part of Thiruvaimudi, Swami Nammalvar always said he wants to reach Bhagavan, he wants to do kainkaryam or service to Bhagavan. But come the 8th decade, in the last verses of his Thiruvaimudi, he switches sides and says that his aim is to reach the Bhagavatas who are in Vaikuntham. Adiyargal Kurangalaye udan kooduvadennuhalo Nedumarkadimai Sheiven pol Avanaikkarudha vanjittu Tadumattatta Teekkadikal Muttum Tavirnda Shadir Ninaindal. Till now, I had not joined with his bhaktas. Now, once I had joined with them, Kodu ma vinayen, Sheiven pol Avanaikkarudha vanjittu Tadumattatta Teekkadikal Muttum Tavirnda Shadir. Once I was unified with his bhaktas, all my papas were removed. Now, when I think of this, Kodu ma vinayen, avan adiyar adiyodu kudu miduvallal, vidumar enpatannando viyan moovalahu perinime. I don't want to reach Vaikuntham alone. Or even if I go there, it is the union with the Nitya Suris there that I am longing for. It is not for union with Bhagavan. So Kuresha also now says, Kainkarya nitya nirataihi bhavadeka bhogaihi. The Nitya Suris who are in Vaikuntham are interested only in kainkaryam to Bhagavan all the time. Bhavadeka bhogaihi. They have no other bhogya vastu other than Bhagavan. It is Bhagavan who is everything for them. Unnum shoru, paruhanir, tinnum vettariyam ellam Kannan. They do not want any other pleasures at all. Nityaihi anukshana navina rasardra bhavaihi. Their hearts are drenched in the new rasas that they enjoy. Every moment they enjoy Bhagavan. Anukshana navina rasa ardra bhava. Anukshana, every second. Navina rasa. They enjoy Bhagavan and they experience a new rasa. That is why he is called Aravamudhan Aparyaptamritan. He does not grow stale at all. Every instant you enjoy him, he gives you a new sort of enjoyment. Navina rasa ardra bhavaihi. They are drenched in that rasa bhava. Nityabhivanchita paraspara nicha bhavaihi. They say or they hold that I am nicha compared to everyone else here. Paraspara nicha bhava. Each one says that I am inferior to you and you are a superior, and so I prostrate at your feet. Paraspara nicha bhavaihi mad daivataihi parijanaistava sangasiya. Your parijana or your devotees, the Nitya Suris, are the devata for me. So please, Nitya Siddhaha, Yatra Purve Sadhyaha Santi Devaha. Sadhyaha there, one of the meanings given is they are the one that are who are to be attained by us. It is not Vaikuntham that is Sadhyam. It is not union with Paramatma that is Sadhyam. It is the union with Nitya Surya that is Sadhya for us. So that he says in the 77th verse. Then he talks about two important qualities that a Sharanagata should have. One is called Akinchanyam and the other is called Ananya Gatitvam. Akinchanyam means I do not have anything that I can give you in return for attaining moksha. I do not have Karma Yoga. I do not have Jnana Yoga. I do not have Bhakti Yoga. I have no means to reach you. Na dharmanishtosmi, na cha atmavedi, na bhaktiman tvat charanaravinде akinchanaha is the work of in Stotra Ratnam by Swami Alavandar. So Kuresha along the same lines says, Satkarma naiva kila kinchana sanchinomi vidya pyavadya rahita nacha vidyate me. Kincha tvadanchita padambuja bhakti hinaha patram bhavami bhagavan bhavato dayayaha. Kinchana satkarma naiva sanchinomi. I do not accumulate any good deeds. Karma yoga is said to be tapas tirtha dana yajnadi sevanam. Swami Alavandar in his Geetartha Sangraha says Karma yoga tapas tirtha dana yajnadi sevanam. Jnana yoga jitaswantaihi parishuddha atmani sthitihi. Karma yoga is repeatedly performing one particular karma. That could be a yajna, that could be tirtha yatra, that could be pranayama. Krishna specifies many 13 such types of karma yoga in Gita. So karma yoga is conducting all your daily achara, panchamahayajna, nitya, naimittika karma, and along with that, sticking to one karma of your choice. Kuresha says, I do not have any that satkarma kila kinchana na sanchinomi. I have never accumulated or performed any such karma. Jnana yoga is jitaswantaihi parishuddha atmani sthitihi. One who has controlled his senses should start performing meditation about the parishuddha atma, the atma devoid of this body, or the atma who has been mentally separated from this body. Kuresha says, Vidyapi avadya rahita nacha vidyate me. I have no knowledge of such a kind. I do not have any vidya, any jnana yoga also. Kincha tvadanchita padambuja bhakti hinaha. I do not have any bhakti to your lotus feet also. So I do not have karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga. So Bhagavan says, you are not qualified or you do not have the means to attain mukti. So why are you coming to me? Kuresha says, Patram bhavami bhagavan bhavato dayayaha. Therefore, I am the one who is the right person to whom you should show your daya. Kulittu மூன்று அனலை ஓம்பும் குறிகொள் அந்தணமதன்னை ஒளித்திட்டேன் என்கணில்லை நின்கணும் பத்தனல்லேன் கழிப்பதென்கொண்டு நம்பி கடல்வண்ணா கதறுகின்றேன் அளித்தன கருள் செய்கண்டாய் அரங்கமா நகருளானே. Nobody can explain Sharanagati in simpler terms. குளித்து மூன்று அனலை ஓம்பும் குறிகொள் அந்தணமதன்னை ஒளித்திட்டேன். Although Tondadipadi Alvar was born in a Brahmin family, he did not perform adhanam, he did not do rakshana of the three agnis. Kulittu மூன்று அனலை ஓம்பும் குறிகொள் அந்தணமை. I have lost that Brahmanyam. ஒளித்திட்டேன் எண்கணில்லை. I have no jnanam also. நின்கணும் பத்தனல்லேன். I have no bhakti towards you also. So what is my only eligibility? கழிப்பது என் கொண்டு நம்பி கடல் வண்ணா கதறுகின்றேன். I am lamenting at your feet. I am begging you to give me mukti. Alittana karul shei kandai. Please grant me mukti and show your benedictions or shower your benedictions on me. Similarly, he says, Patram bhavami bhagavan bhavato dayayaha. This is akinchanyam. I do not have any means to attain you. It is your grace or your karuna that has to take me to mukti. In the next verse, he says, Aishwarya virya karuna garima kshamadhyaha swamin akarana suhrutvam atho visheshat sarve gunas savishayastava mam apara ghoragha purnam agatim nihatam sametya sarve gunas savishayastava mam apara ghoragha purnam agatim nihatam sametya. Here he says, Bhagavan possesses many superior qualities. Aishwaryam, the ability to control all. Viryam, the nature or the quality of being nirvikara, although he performs many tasks like bearing this whole universe. Karuna, his compassion or the need or the desire to remove someone's dukkha. He has so many. Kshama is his porumai, and he has so many such qualities. Akarana suhrutva, he is suhrit. He wishes the well-being of all beings without expecting anything in return. So he says, Kuresha says, you have all these qualities. I am the only one to whom you can show these qualities. And I am agati. I do not have any other gati. If you do not give me mukti, I have no other sharanam to go to. Ghoragha purnam agatim nihatam sametya. So he says, there is one very charming or very samartha thing that Kuresha is doing here. Ananya gatitvam is, I do not have any refuge other than you. While he is saying this, while Kuresha states that I am agati, I do not have any refuge other than you, he is silently implying that Bhagavan's gunas also do not have any refuge other than him. Mam apara ghoraga purnam sametya savishayaha tava gunaha. If you do not show these gunas to me, then your gunas are also agati. They do not have any vishaya at all. So there is a mutual benefit in this. I am agati. Please show your gunas to me and take me to mukti. Your gunas are also agati. So I am the only one to whom you can show them. So here he says akinchanyam and ananyagatitvam. And finally, in the last verse, he says nirbandha yesha yedite yad ashesha vaidha samsevino varada rakshasi netaranstvam tarhi tvameva mai shakti adhikara vanchaha pratyuha shantim itaracha videhi vishwam. Here he uses the word varada. It could mean generally the one who grants all wishes, or Kuresha could be referring to Kanchi Theva Perumal himself as Vaikunthanatha also here. Uyarvara Uyar Nalamudayavan Yavanavan. The verse Ayarvarum Amararhal Adhipati Yavanavan. The verse is taken to refer to Vardaraja himself. So it is not wrong to say that Ayarvarum Amararhal Adhipati or Vaikunthanatha is none other than Kanchi Vardaraja. Varada Nirbandha Yesha Yedite Yed Ashesha Vaidha Samsevino Rakshasi. If there is such a bound, or if there is such a restriction that you will save or you will give mukti only to those who perform all the acts as per the Vedas. Ashesha Vaidha Samsevinaha. Only if someone sticks or adheres to all the commands that the Vedas have given, if you will shower your anugraham or your kripa on them, only then. Na itaranstvam. And if you will not save all the others in this world, then I am not going to get your anugraham at all. So then it is up to you to elevate me to the status where I am eligible of receiving your anugraham. Tarhi tvameva mai videhi. Then you are supposed to create all these gunas in me. What are they? Shakti, adhikara, vanchaha. You must create the desire in me to perform all these means. You must create the Shakti so that I can perform Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga also. You must create the qualification or the eligibility, Adhikara in me. And you must also remove all the obstacles that are there in my path. Pratyuha Shantim Itaracha. I do not even know what other Angams are required as a means to reach you. These are things that I know. I need Shakti, I need Adhikara, I need Vancha, I need Pratyuha Shanti. There may be many more things that I am not even aware of. So right now I am not capable of performing any Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. But if you insist that you will only save someone who possesses all these, then it is up to you to create or develop all these qualities in me and then bestow your anugraha on me and take me to mukti. So this in short is the gist of Vaikuntastama. First, he praises or prostrates to Swami Ramanuja and to Swami Nammalvar. Then he talks about Veda, which is the supreme pramana, the crux of the Vedas, which is the Purusha Sukta, which says that Sriman Narayana is the Purushottama. He then says that all the Karana Vakyams that say that Sat, Brahma, Atma are the Karanam for this universe are not contradictory to this. They all together say that Narayana is the Jagat Karanam. Then he says such a Narayana possesses two Vibhutis, the Leela Vibhuti and the Nitya Vibhuti. And then he goes on to explain how Bhagavan resides in this Nitya Vibhuti, how he sits, what are his the qualities of his Tirumeni or his Divya Mangala Vigraha, what are the qualities that are present in Paramatma, the Kalyana Gunas that he possesses, who are the ones who are surrounding him, the Nitya Suris who are doing service to him all the time. He says all this, and finally he laments that he does not have the required means to reach this mukti, but he has a lot of desire to reach it. And so it is up to Bhagavan to take him to mukti. Unarvil umbar uruvanai avanadharulal udal poruttu yen unarvinulle iruthineen adhuvum avanadhinnarule. Any act that we do, even if it is Svikara, that we accept that Bhagavan is the savior, even that Svikara is the result of Bhagavan's anugraham only. Adhuvum avanadhinnarule. So Kuresha concludes saying that it is up to Bhagavan to bestow his anugraham on me and take me to bhakti by inculcating or cultivating the necessary qualities in me. This is the crux of Vaikuntastava. And within I have taken a few more minutes than I was allotted. I request all you to kindly forgive me for that. I thank the Sanchalaka, the Adhyaksha, and the chief guest of this program for allowing me to speak on this great topic. And I thank all my acharyas once again. And I hope that all of you had a good experience learning about Vaikuntha Stavam. Pramanam cha prameyan cha pramaratarach satvikaha jayantu kshapitarishtam sahasarvatra sarvada Srimate Ramyajamatri Munindraya Mahatmane Srirangavasine Bhuyat Nityashri Nityamangalam.
Acharya Namo Namaha. Acharya Raghunathacharya बहु सम्यक् क्रमशः विषयस्य उपपादनं कृतमस्ति. यदि प्रश्नाः सन्ति चेत् तत् पृच्छन्तु डिस्कशन् कर्तुं शक्यते. तत्र इदानीं समयः नास्ति.
एतत्पर्यन्तं श्रीवैकुण्ठविषये श्रीवैकुण्ठस्य विषयकम् अधिकृत्य विस्ताररूपेण सुलभतया आङ्ग्लभाषायां सर्वेषां अवगाहनार्थम् उपन्यासं कृतवतां वेलुपुडी श्री रङ्गनाथन् महोदयानां धन्यवादाः. यथा श्रीरामायणे आत्मानं मानुषं मन्ये इत्युक्तप्रकारेण दशरथपुत्ररत्नत्वेपि श्रीरामस्य वसिष्ठमहर्षेः शिष्यत्वेन स्वीकरणार्थम् अनेक कल्याणगुणपूरितः आसन् इति वर्तते. तद्वत् अस्माकं कुलपतिवर्याणां शिष्यत्वस्वीकरणेन अनेक विषयान् प्रतिपादयन्तः सम्यक् प्रतिपादयन्तः महान् धन्यवादः समर्पयामि. अनन्तरम् अस्य कार्यक्रमस्य अन्तिम समर्पणार्थं महोदयः वन्दनार्पणं क्रियते.
ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಶ್ರೀ ಉವೆ ವೇಲ್ಕುಡಿ ರಂಗನಾಥ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಯವರು ವೈಕುಂಠೋತ್ಸವದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಮ್ಮ ಬಿಡುವು ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ಬಹಳ ಸುಂದರವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಅರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಸ್ಥಾನವನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಿರುವ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾದ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನ ಅರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಆಯೋಜಿಸಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸರುಗಳಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇನ್ನಿತರರಿಗೆ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಆಯೋಜಿಸಲು ಸಹಕರಿಸಿದ ಮಾನ್ಯ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರು ಹಾಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಲಸಚಿವರಿಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸರುಗಳು ಹಾಗೂ ಆತ್ಮೀಯರಾದ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಹೋದ್ಯೋಗಿಗಳು ಮಿತ್ರರಿಗೂ ಸಹ ವಂದನೆಯನ್ನ ಅರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಪುನಃ ನಾಳೆ ಇದೇ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅತಿಮಾನಸ್ತವದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಎಂ ಎ ವೆಂಕಟಕೃಷ್ಣ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರು ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ತಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನ 4 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
रङ्गनाथाचार्यः
वदन्तु.
वैकुण्ठस्थविषये तत्र क्रमशः बहु सम्यक् उत्पादनं कृतमस्ति. अत्र वैकुण्ठस्वरूपविषये वर्णनं वर्तते वा आचार्य तत्र?
तदेव यद्वैष्णवं हि परमं पदम् आमनन्ति इत्यारभ्य कुत्र अस्ति, कथं तत् प्रापणीयमस्ति इत्यादिकमस्ति. अनन्तरं के तत्र सन्ति, तत् कथं गन्तव्यम् इति अर्चिरादिमार्गस्य विवरणं तु अत्र नास्ति इति मन्ये. कथमस्ति तत्र मणिमण्डप पर्यङ्कविद्यायां यद्यदुक्तं तत्सर्वम् अत्र नास्ति. नाम विरजा नाम नदी अस्ति, अनन्तरं एते द्वारपालकाः सन्ति, अनन्तरं नगरमस्ति इत्यादिकं तु नास्ति तत्र.
तत्र सप्तद्वारविषये नास्ति खलु? अस्तु अस्तु, बहु सम्यक् उपपादनं कृतम् आचार्य. धन्यवादः. नमो नमः. नमस्कारः. कृष्णन् महोदय
अस्मि.
श्वः कार्यक्रमस्य विवरणं करोतु.
एतत्पर्यन्तं धन्यवाद समर्पणानां जयतीर्थमहोदयानां धन्यवादः. अनन्तरं श्वः सायङ्काले 4:00 अतिमानसस्थविषयमधिकृत्य श्री उवे डॉक्टर एम ए वेङ्कटकृष्णन् स्वामिना द्रविडभाषायां प्रतिपाद्यते. सर्वेषां सादरं सर्वेषाम् अवगाहनार्थं
तत्र जूम् लिंक एंड पासवर्ड सेम अस्ति.
उपन्यासः प्रचलति.
ಅಸ್ತು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಮಸ್ತೆ. ಶಲುನಾರಾಯಣ ಅವರೇ.
ಸರ್ ಶೆಲ್ವನಾರಾಯಣ ಅವ್ರಿಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿ.
ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ನೋಡಿ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಅದಕ್ಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಸರಿ ಸರ್ ಸೀನು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಪಾತ್ರ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಲೀವ್ ಆಗಿ.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ.